The state of Alabama has a ton of schools that have some pretty decent football programs. We obviously have the powerhouse schools like Alabama and Auburn, but there are a number of other smaller schools in the state that are pretty good at producing NFL talent. South Alabama, Troy, and UAB all have some pretty solid NFL players. Troy has a very interesting prospect in this draft class, and that is edge rusher Javon Solomon. This is a guy who, when you look at the numbers, has been absolutely unbelievable for the Trojans, but how successful will he be at the next level? That is what we are going to be going over in today's video. But hey guys, if you guys are new to the channel, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Leave a comment and let me know which players you guys would like to see me talk about in the next video, and without further ado, let's get into it. Like I said in the intro, when you look strictly at the numbers, Javon Solomon has been one of the best edge rushers in college football over the last couple of seasons. In 2022, Solomon finished the season with 27 hurries, 5 hits, and 7 sacks on the year, which are some very solid numbers top to bottom. However, his 2023 season was absolutely out of this world. He had 21 hurries, 10 hits, and 17 sacks on the year. He is a player whose production is there and has some buzz as a potential sleeper in the draft. That is one of his biggest selling points. You just can't deny his production in terms of sacks and tackles for loss over the last few seasons for the Trojans. It is truly remarkable, and it's going to be very interesting to see how it translates to the NFL level. Solomon is a player who plays with very solid hands and has some elite bend off the edge. He had a quick first step, and he seemed to do a really good job at getting around the tackle. He used his hands and did a really solid job of finding ways to get into the backfield. He demonstrated this as both a run defender and a pass rusher for the Trojans. Despite his combine numbers not being ideal, I think he plays with a lot more quickness on the field, which is very nice. He leverages himself very well, and I love to see that from him. Solomon is a player who heavily relies on his power, which I absolutely love to see. He generates that power from his lower body, and he plays a very aggressive brand of football. He's always fighting till the whistle blows, and he plays with so much aggression, which is something that I love to see. He has a high motor, and he has some very solid upper and lower body strength, which I think can really benefit him at the next level. He doesn't just rely on his power though. He does a very solid job of utilizing his bend and quickness, and I really love that he's got an overall great tree of moves that he can go to. We have to address the elephant in the room with Solomon, and it is his size. When I initially turned on the tape, I thought there was absolutely no way that a player of this size was going to be impactful in any way. He is very short and very stubby off the edge. I know it sounds harsh, but Solomon stands at 6 foot, 247 pounds. He doesn't have a lot that he offers in terms of his size. I will say, when he weighed in at the combine and his wingspan was 78.25 inches, I was actually really surprised by that. He does not look like his arms are that long on the field, so that is something that definitely moved him up my board. I was pleasantly surprised with his wingspan. Another thing about Solomon is that even though he is aggressive, I think he has the tendency to play too aggressive at times. It showed up in his run defense. He struggled to stay grounded, and he had the tendency to overextend, and it just led to him having some missed tackles. I would like to see him tone down his aggression just a bit at the next level. The last area of Solomon's game that I think can be concerning is his anchor and his balance. Sometimes when he was met with a more physical tackle, he was pushed off his rush, and he does need to recover a little bit. So I definitely would like to see that improve and see him play a little bit more balanced. Solomon has some very intriguing upside. He has the quicks, he has the moves, and the power. His production has been absurd, and I think he can be a very good player. He is my number 12 edge rusher in the class. I think he's a player who has certainly been growing on me as the draft process continues to go on, and he is my number 133 overall player. Solomon is a guy who I think is the perfect 4-3 edge rusher in the class. Now I do think he needs to add on some weight, but he has the frame to play there in terms of his size and his power. I think he's going to be a great edge rusher at the next level, but he does need to add on some weight if he is going to be as impactful as I think he can be. My player comparison for Javon Solomon is a lofty one, but it is Dallas Cowboys edge rusher DeMarcus Lawrence. Lawrence is a bit undersized, but he has been very productive as both a pass rusher and a run defender for the Cowboys over the last few years. Him and Solomon have a very similar skill set, and somehow Solomon is still a bit bigger in terms of length than DeMarcus Lawrence is. I could see him being a very similar type of player. I'm not saying he's going to be as good, but I could see him being a light version of DeMarcus Lawrence. Javon Solomon is an undersized edge rusher, but he has a ton of upside. He has the power, he has the skills, and I think he could be very impactful. And ultimately, I believe that Javon Solomon will be a 4th round pick in the 2024 NFL Draft.